You're listening to Creatively Geeky, the support group for your creative process.
Hello and welcome to the Creatively Geeky Show, episode number 51. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight I'm joined by Kris, Ray, and Cyrus. How's everyone doing? Meow.
Better today than I was yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, good, good. What was happening yesterday?
Grumpy.
Just grumpy, fair enough. We all have those days. We all have those days.
Offline.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
It's been good, but it seems like it's been good for me. I don't know what the problem is. What's the problem?
Fair enough. Okay.
And that's why you're showing your face?
That was a reference to a few years ago. I was commenting about something like a bunch of celebrities had died, and I was like, man, 2016 was a terrible year. And Eugene was like, well, it's good for me. I had no problems. I thought it was a good year.
I did not say that.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, something like
But there's probably a tape of it, so we can go back and look at it. So
It was, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I might have said something like, I feel bad that's been okay for me, but yeah.
that's not what you said. I remember exactly how you said it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I was appalled. Damn it. I was appalled.
Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah. How dare you have a good year?
I'm all right.
Alan Rickman had just died. I was beside
Oh,
That is bad.
You were
that's
like,
not
well, it's been pretty
great.
good for me. I was like, damn you to hell.
I'm not out, friend.
Oh man.
Too soon.
Tonight is our media catch-up night. So it's the things that we've been watching, listening to, thinking about, and doing. As I always do, would anyone like to go first? And then what would you like to pick? Which topic would you like to go with?
You wrote it all.
I wrote shit
Be
down.
prepared.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh.
All right, Ray.
Somebody's ad-libbing tonight, so it's
I was talking to our daughter. I was parenting from a distance.
All right, Ray. Which one do you want to start with?
Get back on track.
no. I'm gonna go with listening first.
Listening. All right. So what have you been listening to?
So other than the books, because that's another show.
Right.
So I've talked about this podcast before, but they've actually shifted over to their own YouTube channel now as well. It's called For Your Amusement.
Mhm.
It's an amusement podcast. They go over a bunch of different things. But what I like about them is, so it's mostly the guys from the Watcher podcast. But like I said, they've taken this and they've made it their own. And it's enjoyable. I enjoy listening to amusement parks, and they kind of go over some stuff, some of them that I'm never probably going to ever see. So, but there's a whole culture around different rides and the makers, and they go through the history of all of it. So if you ever get a chance, they do some really good deep dives. They're each over an hour long, about one ride usually. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. So, and then the other part that I'm going to tag in here is NHL season kicks off today. So I've been listening to some podcasts about hockey to get back into it. And yeah, so just trying to
I'm so excited to watch the Leafs tank.
I got it going. So it's,
So I take it from Chris's comment that the expectations are not high.
No, they haven't won a cup since 1967.
Yes.
They're not going to win. They never win. They
Right,
always
but
choke.
hey,
They choke.
Utah has an NHL team now. So go Utah
Oh,
I heard about that. Isn't it very generic? It's like Utah
Hockey Club.
Hockey Club or whatever.
And the name, well, okay, so
No, they have a good name.
no, they don't.
Oh, they
The
don't.
name is called Hockey Club right now. What I love about it though is, okay, so at the end of last season, essentially, everything went down during the summer. Everything fucking went down, and Arizona sold their team to this guy who now owns it in Utah.
Mhm.
They had to move it quick because essentially what's happened is the guy that used to own it in Arizona, is kind of like He's done some shady business. Yeah. He's done some. He kept promising things to the league and never delivering.
Mhm.
Arizona was against him. Like he lost Phoenix as well as another city just shut him down, and like he wasn't paying people, and like a lot of shit went down. And so he kind of got told, okay, you're not going to own the team anymore. So I feel bad for Arizona teams fans, because the Coyotes were, a popular team for the area. They could have been amazing. They just had a shitty owner, and they've had multiple shitty owners. But I'm really curious. They do promise that eventually they will go back, and there will be.
They're not going back.
Nah, I think they will someday.
No, those Mormons are going to ride on that NHL bus.
Sorry.
Off they go.
I don't mean that they're going to. So yes, because it happens so quickly, Utah now has a hockey team in the NHL, and it's literally called the Utah Hockey Club.
Did you just remember what you were talking about?
No, but what I was going to say about that is they're staying there. The NHL will expand back into Arizona at some point in the future.
Okay.
Is that happening, or is that
that's their plan? No, that's their plan, because
okay.
they have put the Arizona Coyotes team name in hiatus. So it's something that they've never done it before.
So dramatic.
Anyway, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's
how are they going to have a hockey club if with no beer? I don't like.
Yeah, because Utah's a dry state, isn't it? Is like the whole state a dry state?
I think. Well, this is Salt Lake City, I think. So.
Oh, okay. Well, the Mormons are vehemently against alcohol, so it was just.
Yeah, but apparently not sugar, and those bitches drink a shit ton of pop. Like, it's disgusting. Because you can't have a stimulant, but sugar's not. If you drink.
Technically, they're not supposed to have pop either. Soda.
Technically, they're not supposed to do a lot of things.
Well, technically,
are we going to start calling other religions on the carpet here? Like,
I've seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I know what goes on.
Fair enough.
Tonight on the Anti-Mormon Show.
Exactly.
Wow,
yeah.
That's
that
the left turn.
There you go.
I know, right? It's funny because I was literally listening to a podcast earlier today, and one of the guys brought up the fact that they had a team, and he's just like, yeah, it's funny they haven't got a name. He's like, I'm hoping for something cool, like the Blizzards or something or another.
They're talking about the Yeti. That might.
Oh, see, that would be awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so they're talking about it might be the Utah Yeti. It's like the number one. They've got a selection of 5 names. They're trying out each one. To see kind of how it all fits, and then they're going to pick it, and probably next year is when they're going to announce the team name.
Just as long as they don't leave it up to the fans, because then it'll end up being the Utah McBoatFace or something.
That's how Macaulay Culkin's legal name now is Macaulay Culkin, because he let his fans pick. And that's
God, are you serious?
Yes, I'm very serious. You can do it. He let people pick, and that's what they pick, and that's what he
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin. That's his name.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh my God.
They were so preoccupied with whether they could.
I know, right?
Exactly, right?
I mean, of course, the Bodie McBoatFace is the most famous one, but I think I may even sent it.
Seen it in person, Bodie McBoatFace. We've seen it.
And then like some school was asking the students to come up with names, and like one of the top ones they had was Adolf Hitler's School for Friendship and something or another, and I'm just like,
terrible.
Yep.
I'm like, you cannot. That's one of the things. The internet is great in some ways, but there are some you cannot just leave it open to the demon horror.
So okay, because you brought that up, and because I was talking about the NHL, I got to bring this up. So the NHL opened up fan voting for the players that they wanted to be at the NHL All-Star Games on a particular year. And somebody got the great idea to vote for one of the worst players in the NHL. And like, hey, we're gonna get Scott to go, and yeah, I can't remember I think Scott is his last name. Anyway, so next thing you know, he gets voted, and he's like the captain of one of the teams. Like that's how many votes this guy got. And they're like, okay, the NHL was like, we can't let this happen. So the team traded him away to like get him out of it. Then they dropped him from the NHL to the AHL, to like a lesser league, to try and just get it all away. The fans voted, and there was a backlash.
Mm-hmm.
So they brought him into the NHL, the All-Stars. He ran it. He actually did a really good job. He got voted as the MVP for his team. He won $1 million. Like, it was all great. But man, did they ever try and squash that at one point? And like, there's a whole mess of story of them trying to hide this, cover it up, and be like, no, this can't happen. But anyway, yeah.
At first, what I thought you were going to say is they voted this one guy, and then they were just like, can we vote everyone in? And they just literally picked like the absolute worst group, and we're like, we want to see the absolute worst guys play.
Yeah.
So
no, it was just one player, but anyway, it was.
So that's still pretty funny.
Yes.
Can I compliment your cat on its shadow puppet?
Yeah, she's working it.
It's really good.
She's living up the couch right now.
Yeah, she's just living her best
life. Kris, you want to go next?
Sure.
All right. You want to stick with what you're listening to, or do you want to switch to something else?
We'll stick with listening.
All right.
I listen to
your daughter talk a lot.
My daughter talk a lot. She's better. I love it though. That's not what I'm listening to. I listened to that Fred the Vampire Accountant book. I listened to that. It was all right.
Okay.
I just was like, because Sean. Hi, Sean. The way he's going on about it, I'm like, all right. 8 books in a month. Okay, this has got to be something. And then I listened to him, like, this is okay. I feel like this is like Buffy for boys. Like, it's just like, it's okay. I mean, it's good. Like, it's an interesting idea, and I liked the way he took it and stuff like that. But he's kind of like Ishmael a little bit in a vampire form.
He's very unassuming, and
which I get it, but yeah, like, it was cool. It was all right.
As it keeps going, you'll be introduced to more and more characters, and you'll end up like by the end of every book, you're just like, man, I like this little group. I like to hang out with this little group. It's one of those type of books. So.
Like, it was a bit ridiculous, some of the stuff. Like,
oh yeah, it's totally ridiculous.
Though was Bubba. I did enjoy Bubba.
The Weremere, yeah.
Yeah, the Weremere was pretty cool. He turns into a pony. That was pretty funny. So I was listening to that, and then I listened to Dennis E. Taylor's short story Feedback, which I thought was pretty. It was only half an hour, and I understood 75% of it because he's talking about time travel, and I'm just like, but it was interesting, and of course, it ended right when I wanted it to start, and it got good. And then was that it? Is that all I've been listening to? Wait a minute. I think so. No, and then I was listening to, but I already talked about Lessons in Chemistry on the Marginally Geeky Show, which was a really good narrator. And the more and more I listen to audiobooks, the more and more the narrator is such an integral part of that whole thing, because it could be a critically acclaimed book. You get a shitty author, a shitty narrator, and it's just
it alters your perception of the book.
It's like, it's a slog to get through. You're not looking forward to it. It's just, and then I started Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I haven't started them yet.
Which is Joseph's book.
Right.
So yeah, that was an interesting start. I just started. I think I'm on chapter 4. So I just started that one. And you really listen to a lot when you just uptick the speed. I'm only doing it at 1.2, and it's faster. I like it.
Yeah, and
I feel accomplished.
I know, right?
Yes.
It's like when Jennifer made that comment the other day about, she's just like, but the book list just keeps getting longer. I will never finish. I'm like, not with that attitude.
No.
And that speed.
Yeah, it's just the fetus. Just amp up. But yeah, yes. I have enjoyed that.
So you weren't part of that conversation, but one of the podcast apps that I use, there is a choice for a 5 times option.
Oh my God.
Yeah, even I was like, no.
Those aren't
Past
words.
2 is too much.
It's just sound.
It's like listening to chipmunks that are through digital medium of some sort from the 90s. Like, I don't know. It's just bad.
They
I was
bad.
gonna say, you know how like when you listen to the radio, well, Eugene, you probably don't remember the radio, but like everybody else that listens to the radio, when they play these commercials for like medicine,
Yes.
you know what I'm talking about? And then they start.
Oh, and the side effects.
Yeah.
You gotta take with water or alcohol or
Yeah. All the legalese at the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
Yes, because unfortunately I have to put on the radio from time to time, like if I'm traveling somewhere with the family, because Christy's like, can you put something on so it's not just dead silence? And I'm like, all right, I'll put the radio on. Because I can't listen to, if I'm trying to listen to something, it sounds like they're talking like this. I know they're not, but to me, that's what it sounds like. And I'm just like,
Dude,
I can't do it.
Put on PBS. It will. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I finished the Bob book.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to do another run through on it because I wanted to do a second run, but I wanted to wait till closer to
It was good.
showtime.
I liked it.
I should re-listen to that one. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it was
So.
really good. I liked it. I like legit.
Cyrus, what have you been listening to?
Honestly, this is gonna sound incredibly
Dirty.
no, not dirty. Well, what do you know? Who have you been talking to?
I know, right?
It's gonna
Paper
sound
walls, buddy, paper walls.
it's gonna sound very pretentious for me to say this. I've been listening to my own voice a lot because I've been doing recording stuff.
No, that totally makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's hard. It's hard. Like I've recorded an audiobook before, but it was my own book, so I knew exactly how to do it. But recording lengthy text that is someone else, a completely different style of creative personality than myself, it is not easy to do that. It takes a lot of effort. I screw up constantly. I'm having to like stop and restart, and it's frustrating. I'll get halfway through a sentence and realize I read the whole sentence wrong, and then I'll fix that in the next sentence. Same thing, and it's like, because you in your brain, how when you're reading a sentence, you're going, okay, this is the flow of this sentence, and it means nope. Halfway through that was he didn't actually. Okay, let me back up.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, so I'm doing an audiobook for a big project that's coming out next year, hopefully next year. We'll see how it goes. And it's a pretty well-known author. But this author writes in I don't know if I've ever read anything like this. This is like he mixes in the dialogue into the narration, and it's so you'll be reading the narration and then all of a sudden it's dialogue, but the narration is also like someone speaking. So he's writing it in like slang. There's like all this like it's very difficult to manage.
Are you doing multiple voices as well?
Well, that's okay. So he's going to have other actors come in and do the different parts, but I am recording it because I have to maintain the cadence of everything.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, you're going to want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, he was right. I need to do that. And so my natural inclination is to assign a personality to different characters. So yeah, but I'm not too worried about it other than trying to maintain the flow of what's happening. And but the narrator also is speaking in like this abbreviated like old west style thing, and it's so sometimes I'm reading like narration and it's like not even real words. It's like I'm trying to think of an example, something like about a fur piece towards last week, we're down yonder, and da da da, and it's like you have to like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's very confusing. So
yeah, I read a book series like that. It was by Moira Young. It was the Blood Red Road, and all 3 books were like that. And it was I've never read a book like that since. It's such a unique experience.
Yeah.
To read something like that. It's really cool.
Well, I'm loving it. Other than there's some words I have to say that I really don't want to say.
Yeah.
But I have to. And
Fair enough.
I kept thinking about Leonardo DiCaprio when he did Django.
Yeah.
And there was stuff he had to do, and he was like, not like, oh, this is not good. But once you take ownership of, hey, I have to do this, and it needs to be me, and that's so anyway. I don't know if that makes sense, but like,
it does. It's interesting. We had a parent-teacher interview tonight with Quinn's teachers, and one of them teaches Indigenous writings and stories. Is that
the class is Indigenous literacy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that had we had a conversation with her about some of that, and then on our way home, we were also having a conversation of like, when a story is written about a specific time, or if it's from a certain time, words are important to ensure we don't lose that history, because it is a part of history, and it is something that we, you don't want to gloss over. You don't want to hide that, right? Like it's something that's important.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And
yeah,
that's why I'm doing it, because
Doesn't make it easier. Doesn't make it easier. Doesn't. No,
Yeah.
I completely understand. There are certain words that I have vowed never to.
Dude, I'll just say this. The first one of these words that I got to, when I saw it, I was in the middle of the sentence and I stopped and I just froze for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I restarted the sentence because I wasn't sure. I had to go through the process in my head to be like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
And then I thought about, like I said, the Django thing, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. It's fine. And you're right. There's an authenticity in this type of storytelling, and it's uncomfortable, but that's the point. That's the point, right? Yeah. So I'm proud to be a part of that process. While I may not be proud of certain words that are used, but that's the point. That's the point. We're not supposed to be proud of that.
No.
Exactly. Yes. That's the key thing. There's a difference between, like you said, you're reading. I mean, it is a book, but it's also a historical document of some, it's a historical story. And it's one thing to use the verbiage of that time period for then. It's not like you're adopting it and still using it now. Then we move into a completely different animal.
That's right.
So.
Well, I've seen movies like Pulp Fiction and stuff where these words are thrown around in a certain way, and I respect the art of what's going on there. That would be a lot more difficult. I'm not going to lie. That would be a lot more difficult for me to do. But regardless, it's the art, and I am doing this because I feel like it's a really good project, and I wouldn't want to do it any other way than to follow the exact words. So so that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
And when I do finish and I give my daughter a copy of this, I will absolutely be like, okay, just so you know.
Yep.
Be prepared. There's some things.
Yep.
You will hear me say stuff that you've never heard me say.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, because it's one thing to warn her about stuff. It's completely different to be like, well, even though I've had the warning, I'm still hearing Dad actually say it. Yeah. Like, it would be one thing to be like, hey, I'm an actor. I'm just letting you know there's a nude scene. You're good. I show my butt, and it's like, okay, I get it. You're a human being, whatever. And it'd be completely different being like, well, that's definitely my dad's ass on screen. Like, that's just
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess that goes into a bunch of stuff there, but that's what I've been listening to. It's me.
I have to say that's probably the first and only time anyone has had that answer for this show. So
Yeah.
that's pretty funny. I've been listening to several different books, but the one that I wanted to bring up and talk about on here, and I'll talk a little bit on it. Talk a little bit about it on the book show is. So I was looking for it's Halloween, it's spooky season as I keep referring to it right now, and so I was like, well, let's listen to some Stephen King, and I was like, let's see if there's something I haven't listened to yet. And literally the day that I pulled this up, I believe it came out on October 1st. Was a book that they re-released called Danse Macabre. And I was like, okay, this is a re-release, and it says it's been updated. And I'm just like, okay, well, this is actually an update of a re-release of his initial writing. And essentially it is his take on the horror genre. And the beginning part of the book, it is an update, so he does talk about some newer stuff in it, specifically newer movies, but the rest of it is literally him going through the horror genre from about 1950 until 1980. And he goes into movies first, and then he talks about television. He's actually very down on television, of course. He even said it. It's funny because he even said he's like, television just has never had a golden age, and I'm just like, yeah, because if you haven't updated since 1980, I could maybe see that. But boy, you got some real dingers coming up here in the next couple of decades. And then he talks. What's funny though is when he gets to talking about horror books, he can be pretty merciless. But I'm just like, yeah, but I mean, he obviously knows what he's talking about. Like he's not, when he's kind of dissecting it. It's funny though when he talks about horror when it comes to movies, he's very apologetic and he's just very much like, yeah, I liked this movie. It's absolute trash. It's garbage. The special effects are horrible. It's not scary at all, but I love it. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay for everyone to love stuff that isn't good. And it's not good. He's like, just don't pass it off to be good. So,
Right.
but no, it was very interesting. It kind of reminded me a little bit of his book on writing, where he's dissecting the actual process of writing for him. This was him dissecting the genre he's best known for. And like I said in the beginning, he does bring it up to some more modern stuff. But I'll be honest with you, I was really interested in it until it got to some of the book stuff, because some of the horror books that he's brought up, I'm just like, ooh, that's really old, and I have like the whole monster things from like the 50s and 60s of like the giant bug stuff, where they're basically, it's giant ants, and it's literally ants on this, they've got it zoomed in really far, and it's this little bitty town, and of course it's on a green screen, so you have your actors like looking out the window at a giant real ant and that type of stuff. And I always find that interesting, just because, and he does talk about, this movie, obviously they used real ants or they used real bugs or whatever. And then this other one, he's like, and you could obviously tell it was like, it was whatever they, put together, on this, their best, approximation of whatever it was. And I really enjoyed it. It just kind of, I wanted to bring it up here just because, I thought it was interesting listening to someone who's so well known for, the genre actually kind of dissecting it. And he even talks about, he's like, I would have never thought I've written this. And he said, I'm going to get some stuff wrong. But I want to give it a stab. I want to give it a stab and see what, kind of get my thoughts out there. So
Cool.
But if you're interested in anything like that, whether it's what you want to find out what's going on in Stephen King's mind about horror itself, or find out like what he actually enjoyed as a kid or whatever growing up. So, but yeah, it was fun. So it was a decent read.
That is interesting because, if you're familiar with Stephen King, especially his early stuff, where he's kind of coming from as far as his, where he grew up and the storytelling that he wants to tell in those early stories. Like I'm thinking of like Stand By Me and you know, a lot of these stories they're all kind of based in the same area in the same place. And I always find it interesting when an author starts talking about their history, about what they love and why they love it and what they're drawing from. But it's also interesting that Stephen King would love movies that are totally not like what he does, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think that's cool too. Yeah. It gives you a lot of insight into where they're drawing from as far as what they understand and what they appreciate. So
Well, like it's always fun. I always think it's interesting. Like when you listen to, you know, if you listen to especially musicians, when you listen to musicians talk about what is it you listen to, and you hear like you may hear pop musicians that are just like, oh yeah, I love this really hard metal or rock or whatever, and so like, but that's not what they do. That's not their music or what they produce, but they enjoy listening to these other things. So it's funny. I'm guessing this came out maybe before The Shining, because that was one of the other things that I wanted to point out was he was pretty complimentary to what's his name that did The Shining that he absolutely hated.
Stanley Kubrick.
He was actually very complimentary to a lot of Kubrick stuff, and I'm just like, is this before The Shining came out? Because I know you hate his interpretation of your book. So but I kind of think it is anyway. But it came out in 1980, so I'm like, well, maybe he did that part of the book, and then I don't know. I'd have to look at it. But like I said, it was literally re-released the day that I got it. So because I was like, well, what are the ratings on it? And there were no ratings. And I was just like, oh, when's the release? Oh, today. Okay, sure, I'll give this a shot.
That is funny because a huge amount of what we know of Stephen King's work came out after that. You know, as far as the movies and the TV shows, and it's funny that he talks about TV shows when so much of what he's known for is all the miniseries that were based on his stuff. You know, that's just interesting.
Yeah, and they just released. I almost talked about this as to what I was thinking about. I'm having an issue right now, so I have both Disney Plus and Hulu, and I had Max, but I had it through my AT&T phone, but they dropped it. So like I no longer get Max for free. So I was like, well, there's a bundle that has all three of them together, and I'm trying to switch over to it, and it is like pulling teeth because they're like, well, you already have an account. I'm like, yes, I already have an account. They're like, well, then you just go in there and you switch the plan. So I go and switch the plan, but it's not listed there. And I'm just like, I literally jumped on the like live chat for, was it Disney Plus or was it Hulu? I think it was Hulu the other day, trying to get this resolved. And literally as the chat window came up, it said, you are 99 plus in line. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding?
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I may have to just like cancel all my subscriptions, close down the accounts, and then start one over. Because even though I went to Max's website and was like, yes, I would like this thing. And I click it. It's like, you have a Hulu account. And I'm just like, yes, I know, but I've already closed it down. Anyway, so I'm not going to go into all that. It was a nightmare. I still haven't got it resolved. And the whole reason I want to get Max back right now is because they've just released a new version of Salem's Lot that I really want to watch.
Oh,
So,
I hadn't seen that. I've been watching. Oh, never mind. I'll talk about that later.
yeah, we'll get to it in a second. All right. Let's see here.
Before you leave that, all I'm picturing is you getting the 99 plus, and all I can think of is the Bobaverse right
now. Fair enough.
1,400.
One question.
One question.
Eugene's been listening to hold music. That's what he's been listening.
Yeah.
If it was at least the what is the famous hold music that's from you know what I'm talking about, from the phones, Lynx's, the Lynx's home default. I will put it in the back in the channel. Anyway, it's kind of a banger. It's actually pretty good if you listen to it. Anyway, Kris, what would you like to go with?
I'll do watching.
All right, Kris, what have you been watching?
Trash.
Okay.
Trash.
Just trash.
A little bit.
No. So we've been watching a bunch of stuff. Like we finished Good Omens with Quinn. It was really cute and good to watch that with him. We watched.
Don't look at my list. I
watched it too. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was at the beginning of September, which I thought would be like an inside to the Mormon Church and kind of controversy within. No. I highly doubt any of these women are actually Mormon. I think they're just saying that they are, and they say it a lot. Nothing to do with the Mormon Church and everything to do with how I absolutely have no idea what TikTok is, why anybody would become famous on TikTok, and who actually swung with whose husband. I don't understand what happened. I don't even care.
Wow.
It was not marketed as like
It's quite the story.
But now they're getting a second season.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
And so I've been watching that. We've been watching the new season of Survivor started, so we'll watch that as we do every September and every February, I think. And then Love is Blind season 7 started last week. I've been watching that.
Okay.
It's got to be hard out there for single people. Like, you get hard up and you're like, I'm going to go on this show where I'm not going to see the person I'm talking to. And in 10 days, I have to make up my mind whether I'm going to agree to marry somebody I've never seen before, only talked through a wall for a very scheduled amount of times. Then we meet, then we get engaged, and then we're engaged. Then we go to Mexico for a week and get filmed there.
And stay in the same room.
Yeah, stay in the same room. And then we live together for 3 weeks. Then we get married.
Well, planning the wedding.
Well, planning the wedding and living your life and meeting everybody else's families and stuff like that.
Yeah, you started playing it before I did. So.
Yeah, I have heard that at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then this last episode was the editing bugged me because I'm just like, right, but you didn't say what the thing was that the dude did that made the girl mad that now she's got her ring off. Somehow. That's annoying. And I get privacy and maybe they didn't want it told or whatever, but the way they edited it, I'm like, what happened? What happened? I need to see these texts now because now they're mentioned. And he said he deleted them because he didn't want to look at them and he didn't want to be reminded. It's like, dude, first of all, nobody goes
hiding shit
to a sleep study and gets drunk and texts a girl all night long. Nobody does that. That's not a thing that happens at sleep studies. I'm 99% sure.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
He's super dead. Super dead. But these people are like, this is the oldest cast. Most of these people are in their 30s. I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm so glad I'm married. I'd be Jen. I would just be single forever. Like, I do not blame that woman for being like, I can't, whatever. This is ridiculous out there. And it doesn't seem to be country specific because then I watched Love is Blind England and that had fallouts too. So it doesn't seem to be an American thing. It just seems to be human things. But that's what I've been watching on my own because we watch a lot of stuff together.
Yes.
Which he has a list of, which he will get to. I've also been watching those things. Somebody recommended to me Severance. It's on Apple TV.
Yes.
Okay, so question then for you, Mr. Horror Man. Can I watch it?
Knowing she's a scaredy cat.
Knowing that I'm
Yes. It is not. There's a mystery aspect to it, but no, I would not say it is a horror. It is at best it's suspense.
Okay.
So
what kind of suspense?
Well, because if it's like jump scare and psychological.
No, it's not like jump scare stuff. It could be a little psychological. It's just, here's the thing. The whole premise of the show, I love the premise of the show.
Cool.
There's kind of a cult type thing to it as well, which I'm like, this is interesting. I still want to see where this goes. But to be honest with you, we could have cut all of that out and just stuck with this main idea. Okay. But no, I think you would enjoy it. I don't think it's. I was never scared or whatever, but I was just, I would be like, okay, what's going to happen next? Like, it was that type of thing. So
she did recommend it. And I'm like, is it creepy? And she's like, and I'm like, well, then that's
it could be. I mean, I guess you could consider it a little creepy, but you're mainly just like, it's creepy in that, why is this person being so secretive? Like, what is happening here? That type of thing.
Okay. We'll see.
So,
I'm going to give it a trial run. She suggested that.
No, I greatly enjoyed it. Cannot wait for the next season. But apparently they haven't even started filming the next season. I'm just like, oh, come on.
2 years then. You got to wait 2 years.
Yeah. So stupid.
That's it. That's all I've been watching.
Okay. Cyrus, what have you been watching?
Well, since you asked.
Himself.
We're about to take a turn. No, I've been watching this. You're talking about HBO Max. I've been watching Penguin.
Okay.
They've had, well, as of the recording of this show, they've done 3 episodes. I think there's going to be 6 or 8. I can't remember how many. But I watched that movie, The Batman, a couple years ago when it came out.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty good.
I enjoyed it.
I will say that this is exactly what they need to lead up to the next movie, because, and that's what this is this is what happens between the movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this fleshes out this version of Gotham City in a way that I totally didn't expect. And the acting is, the writing and the acting in this show is so good. It's really, really good. And there's an actress in this, Kristen Melody.
Mm-hmm.
I think is how you say her name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to spoil this at all for you guys, but I'll tell you, this actress is phenomenal. Like, she's like, and keep in mind, the star of the show is Colin Farrell, like dressed up as this totally other character, and he's gonna get, he should have gotten an Oscar. He's gonna get an Emmy for sure. Like, he's amazing. Like, he totally becomes this character. Like, you don't even see him at all. Like, you don't see him or hear him. He becomes the Penguin, this version of the Penguin. And you really get to know this version of the Penguin. And it's a whole different interpretation than what you might even think having seen the movie. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. But as good as he is, this woman, Kristen Melody, she's still in the show because she is so good. Like, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's several really good actors from other shows that you've seen and known. There's some new people. There's this kid. He's like maybe in his early 20s, late teens, major character in the show. And I don't, again, not spoil anything. Very, very good choices for the actors, for the writing, for the dialogue. It's just a really, really well made show. And it does stuff that you might be like surprised that they would do in a show like this. It's fantastic. I'm very, very into this show. It's
cool.
Better than the movie was, and I like the movie, but it's better than that. It's on the level of any of the best shows that I've seen. It's really, really good. Yeah. I'm not overhyping it. It's very good.
I mean, they're pushing it heavily everywhere, advertising wise. And I was like, oh, I might end up watching that. But now that but I was also waiting to hear someone, give it a good review. And now that you said something, I'll probably give it a shot. When I finally get Max back.
Yeah. Well, I think you can watch the first episode for free on like YouTube or something like that. If you do watch the first episode, you will absolutely want to watch the rest because it hooks you in immediately. It's really good. It's really good.
I think you'd enjoy it.
You don't even have to like comic books. It's not really comic booky. It's like gritty and dark and the crime thriller kind of thing. It's but it's also about characters. It's very interesting. It's very good.
I tried to talk Kris into watching that Batman. It was an OSL.
It's pretty hard to sell me on that.
Anything DC.
Well, Kris, can I tell you something about that movie?
Yes, Cyrus.
I understand exactly what you're saying. And as someone who also, I will say this, as much as I love Batman, and I'm a big fan of Batman and have been,
Yeah.
the superhero genre is completely oversaturated to the point of becoming goofy. And so I actually understand where you're coming from. But I will say this. If you were to watch that movie, I think you would enjoy it because it is a superhero movie, but it is not like what you're thinking. It is very dark and it is almost like a David Fincher type experience.
That's not selling
It's
it.
not something.
You're making it worse. I'm really not going to watch it now.
So we've talked about this a lot. She
I
dislikes Batman in general, except for one, and that's Adam West.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay.
So
Well,
I may look and appear dark and brooding on the outside. I am a marshmallow fluff. I can handle very little in terms of like
Adam's family is the level.
that's
of
as dark as it
oh,
gets.
oh
Yeah.
my.
Yeah. So
I'm with you, Sai. Like I'm
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
sure.
Ray, you'll definitely like the Penguin.
there you go.
Okay.
Perfect. I love that.
And we'll leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, you're the
No,
morning-
oh wait, no, let me do it like this. You got to see the Batman because it's so funny. It's so hilarious. No,
Wait, isn't that the one with Robert Pattinson?
Yes.
yeah, and he just makes
Sparkles.
joke after
He's
joke.
sparkle. If he sparkles and he makes the Twilight reference, maybe.
Yeah, all he does literally is sparkle the whole time. That's it. It's pretty much just, they should have called it the sparkles.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I like how campy Batman is basically up until George Clooney, and then Christian Bale lost me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
If you like campy Batman, how do you not like George Clooney? Because like literally,
Exactly. I love that up until
Oh,
that movie stops me for Batman, and then everything after that, I'm like, like even
hello,
Affleck.
freeze,
Batman.
I'm
I'm like,
Batman.
I love it how campy it is because I did. I grew up on
Back hard.
Yeah, I
Yes.
grew up on
Don't leave home without it.
yeah. Adam West is my Batman. So
fair enough.
yeah.
Who doesn't love Adam West? I'll give you that.
Exactly. Except he was like really perverted back in the day. So, anyways, that's another show.
That is another show.
That is another show.
Next week, Adam
I know, right? Yeah. I'm bringing another show. Yeah, I know, right? Epically Geeky After Dark. So what I've been watching, I've been watching YouTube, and the only TV show that I watch or anything movie wise, I will just throw out there. I did go take the boys to see Transformers 1. It's really good. It's a really fun movie. Like, even if you're not a Transformers fan and you're okay with animation, it's a good movie. And lots of people, of course, everyone knows I'm a big Transformers fan, and they're like, so where does it fall? And I'm like, well, don't get me wrong. Going back to my conversation about Stephen King, I know what the 86 Transformers movie is. It's not a good movie. It's a bad movie. Like, there are plot holes you could drive Optimus Prime through. It's not a good movie, but I love it. And putting this on a scale, it's Transformers 86, Transformers 1, everything that Michael Bay's done. Bumblebee may be up here somewhere. No, Bumblebee is in there somewhere, and then everything that Michael Bay's done. It's really good. So if you get a chance to go see it, the sad thing is it's barely made its money back, and it's fun. Like, the boys and I had a fun time watching it. Everyone I know, there's some of the younger guys in my Ghostbusters group, and I'm like, have you watched it yet? And they're like, no, not yet. And one of the guys I worked, I saw this last weekend. He's like, I went and saw it. I was like, well, what do you think? He goes, I really liked it. I thought it was a really good movie. And I was just like, I know, right? Like, we need to get the word out, but like, it's not doing well in the theater. So we'll see. What I really wanted to say though is the only thing that I definitely have been watching is Christy and I started Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, I started that too.
We tried watching it a while back and just never got really started on it. I don't know what was stopping us, but we just finished season 3. Oh my God, we love the show so much. It is so much fun. It's kind of funny because they will have some just take a complete left turn. They'll do a musical number or something, or like they'll just it's funny. But yeah, it's a lot of it is the writing. The writing is very smart. The acting's really good, but you fall in love with all three characters. And like I was talking to someone the other day, and it's crazy how likable and lovable like Martin Short is, and Steve Martin is, and it's just like, how are these guys so good and so great nowadays? And then Chevy Chase was such an asshole, but it's just kind of going back to the whole Three Amigos thing. But no, it's fantastic. And then what's her name? The
Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez is fantastic in this as well. Like it's like, okay, I get it. Another person is like, okay, you're cute and you can act and you can sing and save some talents for everyone else, would you please? So, but no, it's really good. And all 3 seasons we've gotten down to the end, and I'm just like, I'm second guessing myself. Christy's like, well, who do you think it is? I'm like, it can't be them. It can't be them because no, we've got one more. Oh no, it was him. Okay. So, but no, if you have not watched Only Murders in the Building, definitely watch it. And as it goes on, they keep getting like some big names. They get some big names on this show, and you can tell they're just chewing up the scenery and having a blast doing it. So it's one of those, I can see them continuously as long as the writing stays solid, they could keep going with it. And I could see a lot of big names being like, oh no, I'd like to be on it. Even if it's a bit part, I'd love to be on this show. It's one of those types of shows you just, I think a lot of people in Hollywood are just like, yeah, I'd love to be on. So even if it's a small
Spaceballs too.
Yeah, I know, right? So that's what I've been watching. Ray, what have you been watching?
All right. Chris reminded me I need to mention Beetlejuice because that came out and we had a good time at the theater with that.
Yep.
NHL starts tonight, so I'm watching the Leafs lose.
Yes, they are losing.
We mentioned Survivor already. Agatha, I'm enjoying Agatha.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't started yet.
So I like where it picked up.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it started, and I'm intrigued how they're telling the story now. So it's
a good pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one I want to mention too is the Great British Bake Off. We love this show.
It's so good.
And it's available on Netflix down in the States. So
okay.
It's I don't know, a guilty pleasure of ours. We enjoy it. There's a kid on there that's 18 years old, and she's competing with some amazing bakers. It's their 15th season, 14th,
17th.
Anyway, they've been doing it a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really fun show, and it's just you get to see some amazing talent on there too. So
yeah. It's good. It's really cute. It's a competition, but it's not a competition because everybody's like getting along and they're all helping each other. And
like if one of them's done early, then they'll jump in and help one of the other ones out and make sure that they're able to complete on time. Or
okay, I can handle that.
Yeah.
If they run out, that's the wrong blue, you can use mine, or it's really cool that they do it that way.
And the hosts they have really good chemistry with each other, and then with the contestants too. Like they're really good at their job.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good. It's really sweet. It's a nice little comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk people up. They don't bash.
No, it's very encouraging.
Yeah, they can say, oh, you missed it this week. The taste is a little off, but it's not like you're a piece of shit. So
right.
It's all constructive criticism.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I watched at least the first season of that show, Blown Away, on Netflix about the glass blowing, and I thought it was really interesting. But it was a traditional show, so it's like, this week we're doing this, and the guy's like, that's not normally the type of thing that I do. And so he did his best, but he was eliminated. And I'm just like, when they were doing the introduction for him or whatever, it's like, man, he's done some cool stuff. I'd like to see what he does on the show. And then he's gone. I'm just like, this sucks. Why can't we do a thing where it's like, well, first and second get something, or first, second, third, or whatever, get so many points or whatever, and who has the most points in the end? But everyone gets to stay in the competition. We get to see, instead of, everyone's, we eliminate 2 people this week and that type of bullshit. I can't.
Well, they do get eliminated.
They do.
Fair enough, but the fact that they're willing to help each other.
Yeah, but they know what's coming up. Like they have time at home to practice their recipes, and they know.
Oh, that's good.
Like it's a consistent. They have bread week, they have pastry week, they have cookie week, whatever, and then they have time, and then each like it's a week between each episodes for them, so they can like practice and bake and do it over and over and over again. Yeah.
And the only thing that is a surprise to them is the technical
challenge.
So they have a technical challenge each show, and that's a surprise to them. They don't know what it is or how to bake whatever it is that they're going to bake.
They're given like very limited instructions.
Yeah. But what I liked about it too, though, is so one of them was sick. This is a spoiler alert for this season. One of them was sick in the first episode.
I think it was the first episode. Yeah.
So like they were there for the first part of it, and then they couldn't be there. So they didn't kick anybody off. And they went to the next episode, and then they did kick off 2 people. But they've been relaxed on that before. And then the other thing that they always talk about too is they talk about the people who are on the bottom, but they take in consideration the rest of the show. So it's like, listen, this person's really strong, and here in this has just been a bad week for them, so they'll stay. Or if they've had a couple that are like really teetering, they'll just keep everybody for the next week and then go from there. So I do appreciate that.
That's good. Yeah, that sounds a lot better than the traditional
British. Yes,
it's fun to listen to.
There was an American on this one too.
He married an English woman, and he'd been in England for like 40 years,
stuff like that. But he's from New York.
No, New York. Yeah, New York. So he still had his New York accent. It was really funny.
Wow, even that long.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Funny.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when you hear it against everybody else in the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's American.
Fair enough. All right, Si, we have what you've been thinking about, what you've been doing. Which one do you want to go with?
Okay. Kind of answered this already. I mean, I'm working on voice acting stuff again.
So you're talking about what you're doing, right?
Yeah, and thinking about. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a very it's very involved. It's getting back into it is when you do voice acting and you just do a little bit here and there, it's whatever. It's not that big a deal. But when you do a whole big thing and it's not your own stuff that you created, it's a lot. It's been interesting though. My voice has held up, which is good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that was a concern as I was getting started. I was like, well, thank God I've been doing YouTube and stuff again, because I've been keeping my voice working. Because I can tell you this, if you don't constantly talk a lot and you start trying to do that, you will absolutely lose your voice. It's brutal. But I'm good. I'm okay. So I've been working on, projects like that. I've got some other projects that I'm starting to work on too that don't involve voice acting. They involve publication stuff, but they're not. I'm not writing books right at the moment. I'm not doing anything like that. But I am creating some stuff for. You know how I made those magazines, those video game magazines?
Yeah,
it's in that same wheelhouse, in that same ballpark. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not ready to talk about it too much, but it's stuff that hopefully people will like and will actually give me some kind of evergreen type content that's available for people that they're interested in. So
cool.
I've been very busy.
Yeah, because the thing I had questions about was when I was scrolling through my YouTube, I was just like, thought you weren't doing YouTube anymore, and all of a sudden there's all these live streams, and I'm just like, what happened?
That's interesting, because literally I just decided one day to try dual streaming again, and I'm streaming on YouTube and Rumble. It went really well. Like a bunch of people showed up, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna keep doing this. And I just have just kept doing it. I didn't like go through a big like, oh, I know I said I wasn't gonna blah blah blah, and
yeah, who cares? Just do it.
Exactly. Like whatever. I'm just doing it. We're having a good time, and it's going well. and whatever, and I'm not going to let other people try to derail me, and I'm not going to derail myself. I've decided to stop sabotaging myself. I've consistently sabotaged myself for the past 20 years. And I think it's time to stop doing that. So I'm going to try to stop doing that. It's hard.
Yeah.
My nature is when things start going really well, I stop doing it and back off. And then when I think things settle down, then I jump back in, and there's not as many people in the room anymore. And I feel a little less pressure.
Mhm.
But that's the stupidest thing you can do. I know that. I sabotage myself. I do it all the time. I've done it ever since I made my movie. I've done that. I'm going to try not to do it anymore. So we'll see how that goes.
Mhm.
But
Fair enough.
I'm having a good time doing it.
Good deal.
If you want a tip for your voice, if you do feel like it's getting strained, apparently a little bit of coconut oil in tea.
Really?
Yeah.
I hear people talk about honey and tea and hot
That's
tea.
one
and
I've
stuff.
always heard.
So it's Steve Dangle. He's a YouTuber as well as a podcaster, and anytime like he does full on screaming sessions during his his stream sometimes, and what he finds, when he feels like he's heard his voice, it's a little bit of coconut oil in with his tea and honey, so it just helps coat it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I was thinking I would just buy like a big bottle of scotch and just drink like about half of it.
Yeah. That grovel, get the.
Didn't you just say you weren't going to sabotage yourself anymore?
That's right. That's right.
I was going to say you should start doing with cigars too. Then.
Oh yeah, go back to smoking a pack and a half.
No, please don't do that.
I can't afford that.
One.
No, okay.
I was at the store the other day and I looked at cigarettes just to see, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, there's no way. Like, forget it. I mean, for one pack of cigarettes here in Texas, it was like $8.
Oh, that's
I was like, what?
I don't even know what it is.
I don't know what it is. I'm about to look it up, but I'm going to.
Okay, but Canadian money is not real money. We all understand.
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Right. It's Monopoly money. Got it.
It's colorful and like looks. Yeah.
Our money kind of is starting to go that way, though. When's the last time you seen cash, Eugene?
I actually have some in my. So the only time I ever have cash on me really is like after I do an event. All the cash that we get donated, I basically hold on to, and then I just do a digital donation for the same amount, and that way I have a little bit of cash on me. But yeah, you're right. Like it is definitely, of course, usually the maximum you ever get is like maybe a 20. But even then, I'm just like, boy, like Eugene from little boy Eugene would clearly look at this current money and be like, that's not real.
Yeah,
that can't be real. That's funny money right there, boy.
So a pack of 25 in Canada costs between $11 and $16.
Depending on the person.
I don't know how that translates, but that's a lot.
Yeah, it's
so like
it's more than $8 American.
$13 American, I think, and around there.
Yeah.
Wow.
On the high end.
Yeah, depends on what.
A lot of it's taxes, but even that, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. There's no way you could afford. Who could afford to smoke? Like
people find a way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what I was gonna say is ours is the money will go towards the healthcare for them. Like it's
yeah, probably so. And then it'll just be a drop in the bucket.
No joke.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What have I been doing? I have been working on Alex's costume. I kind of talked about it a little bit before the show. So last year I did a Captain Rex clone armor for Nicholas, and the deal was he had to wear it for at least 2 years for me in order to do this. So of course he's wearing it again this year. Kind of an interesting story with that here in a second. But anyway, good on him. The boy has 1/8 of an inch on me now. But He luckily has not put in anything here in the gut area. Like, I guess his working out and playing football and stuff has helped him out with that. The only thing I had to do was I had to expand the thighs to be a little bit bigger, but I mean, that's kind of a thing. It's funny. I'm actually sitting here looking. I've got the anti-fog spray that you were talking about I had to modify his helmet some because that was this big thing last year was like, Dad, it keeps fogging up. I can't see. So I've put several vent holes in it, and I'm going to spray this stuff on the inside of it, and hopefully it will keep his helmet from fogging up. But anyway, so for Alex, he's going to be a Helldiver from Helldivers 2. And luckily it is not a full body armor suit. Like it's more so armor that's strapped on the front of the legs, arms, chest piece. The thing is, and I did find a pattern online. Actually, I found a couple different ones, but I found patterns online. So I've already got all the stuff printed out. I have all the foam printed out, but man, that one last year definitely had me, what's the word I'm looking for? It spoiled. I was spoiled because literally it was, here's the size foam you use for these pieces. And when you make the cut, these cuts are 90 degrees or maybe 45-degree angle in or 45-degree angle out. And none of that on this. And like, I even emailed the guy, I was like, hey, what pieces should be what? Oh yeah, well, people will use multiple foam sizes for different pieces. And I'm just like, that doesn't help me at all. So there may be some point where I have to go in there and tell Alex to fire up the game so I can be like, all right, zoom in. What does this look like? Okay. All right. Now I got it. But because I've never played the game, I'm not familiar with it. But yeah, so I'm working on armor for him right now. The funny thing is I just did a convention this last weekend. And originally the deal was going to be, unfortunately, because it's here in Killeen, I had very few people coming to help me. And I was going to make a deal with Nick. I was going to be like, all right, hey, I need you to help me on Saturday with the Ghostbuster table. And then Sunday, if you want to wear your armor all day, I'll help you out with that because Sundays are always a slower day. And he ended up not opting for that. I ended up paying him to help me out. But if you check out my Instagram, you will see a picture of him wearing my Ghostbusters 2 flight suit. It is my Ghostbusters 2 flight suit. And he fills it out very well. And like I said, the fact that the boy is as tall or technically taller than I am is just crazy. When
you need him to feel smaller,
do what?
When you need him to feel small.
I know, right? And then so I'm working on it right now. I can't do anything with it right this minute, but like I said, Christy and the boys are going to be gone this weekend and the first part of next week. So I'm really going to be doubling down, trying to get the armor done, or at least mostly done here in the next few days so that I can get that knocked out. And unfortunately, putting up my decorations this year, like when I made my tombstones like 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. I used like the thick foam that's like made up of the little balls, and it's holding together okay. I should have used XPS foam, which is like the thicker like pink insulation foam, but I couldn't get a hold of it. So I was like, well, this will work. And so it's fine. But I have a feeling here, in addition to making more tombstones eventually for my front yard, I'm probably going to have to go back and remake the ones that I've done now. They'll be fine holding up the rest of this year. I just don't know how well they're going to hold up in the future. So I may have to remake some of those things. But I was talking to some people on this last weekend, and Nick is already like, well, what can we do? This is what I'm thinking next year. What if I did like a Clone Trooper Ghostbuster mashup or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. And just talking with some people about some stuff that I want to do, I'm just like, my original deal was that I would make you a costume and you had to wear it for 2 years. I don't remember there being a fine print of, and then 2 years after that, I'm going to make you another costume. I'm like, what if Daddy wants to make something? What if Daddy wants to make a costume or whatever? So I may have to slide something in there and see if I can. There's so many things that I still want to get done, but Anyway, so that may have to be a thing that happens. We'll see. But just the automatic, well, next year or next time I want to do this, and I'm just like, you realize I'm the one doing the majority of this work. If I can get my shop set up, it's gonna be a different thing. I'll be like, all right, let's go work on your costume. Put down the video. Oh, you don't want to play? You want to play games? Well, just costume done, get done, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I need your help. So, because they're getting to that age where they can really kind of help. Like, it's one thing when I'm cutting out this foam that because I am using a large blade and I have to keep it super sharp. And I've gotten really good that I'm not cutting myself with it. I'm just like, yeah, if they slip though, kind of bad. So, but they can help me sand. So, anyway, all right. Ray, what are you doing?
So Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred dropped. So Diablo 4 new expansion pack. So I've been playing that, and it's also season 6 now. And they actually got it working because on the day that they dropped it, it was 5 hours late. So there was no way I was playing it. It was supposed to drop at 7 p.m. and it didn't. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to bed. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun so far. They dropped a new character, and the new character is a Spirit Born, which is kind of a cool monk / I don't know. It's interesting. It's fun. So and more story. So I'm always good when there's more story. So yeah,
cool. Kris?
I've been doing 2 things. More than that. But
talking to Logan.
It really, your parenting doesn't really stop when they move out like that. It kind of just really changes, which I'm totally fine with. I signed up. There's this. I have to backtrack here. I got ahead of myself. On Instagram, I rarely get influenced by things because I'm just like, cool, that doesn't apply to me. This one person that I follow, she, and I know she was sponsored to talk about it, but there's this website called the Conqueror Challenge. And I'm like, okay. And then she showed me like this thing that she got from it for completing a challenge. I'm like, oh, okay. So what's this? And I click on it. And for years and years, I have wanted to walk the same distance that Sam and Frodo have walked from the Shire to Mount Doom.
I've seen this.
I don't know why I've wanted to do this. I just always thought it was kind of cool. I'm like, really? How far is it? These little hobbits are walking. But I always thought it was something I wanted to do. And this website has it all mapped out, and they have it mapped out in intervals. So it's a little bit more accessible to do. And last month I was just like, fuck it. I really want to do this. And I get shiny medals as a reward. So you sign up for it, you pay for it. Thank you, by the way.
Yes.
And
I'm getting a tattoo out of it, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah. So it's broken up into 5 different legs, and each time you complete a challenge, you get a medal. So right now I'm doing the first one, which is the Shire. I'm a third of the way through. You get to set how much, like your timeline, how long you want to take to finish it, and all these different types of exercises that you can do to do it. You can sign up.
You can row to Mordor.
You can row to Mordor if you want to do.
Or fly.
Or bike or whatever. They have an other section. And you can join a group. They call it a fellowship. They also, so it's not just Lord of the Rings, it's Harry Potter, it's Star Trek, it's Star Wars. They have like geographical challenges like Norway, Singapore, there's a couple other, and there's something for everybody. So it's not just a geek thing. It's interesting thing that you can sort of challenge yourself. Like if you're never going to go to Norway, but you want to walk this specific trail or whatever, you can simulate that. Which is kind of neat. And the medals look really awesome. And they're like substantial. It isn't some little, it's like a honking medal, and it's all like enameled and things like that. So I'm looking forward to getting my first medal. I've already got 2 little like incentive postcards. When I made it to 20%, they planted a tree for me. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm doing that. I'm just walking. We have an indoor, I have like a walking pad. So I use that, and then I have a route that I do outside. And it's in miles. I didn't know how to convert it to kilometers, so I'm doing it in miles. the first leg is like 145 miles. So this is from Shire to Bree is 145 miles. And I gave myself to December to do it. And so far I am 7 miles ahead of schedule.
Nice.
Which is nice because something's going to fuck me up. Something's going to happen. I know.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I've been doing, this summer sort of just threw me off track with my routine that I really, really liked. And then Logan moved out, and just trying to get back into some sort of productivity was really, really hard. And I was finding myself getting mentally down, and the little gremlin thoughts start coming back, and it was just, I'm like, we're not doing this. I'm not doing this. So there's this other challenge. It's called the 75 hard, and 75 hard is this, it's more of a habit stacking challenge for 75 days than it is a diet program or a fitness program. It's like, for 75 hard, you have to do 2 45-minute workouts a day, whatever workout you want to do. You have to drink a gallon of water, which is excessive. That's disgusting to drink a gallon of water a day. Don't do that. You're going to shoot your kidneys.
You're going to pee out all your
You're going to pee out all your sodium. Don't do that. And then like whatever eating plan you want to do, it doesn't specify. You have to take progress pictures, which is kind of dumb. You have to read 10 minutes a day. Then I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing any of that because that's excessive. So then they have the 75 soft challenge, which is 1 workout a day, whatever diet plan you want. You do not have to take progress pictures. You only drink 3 liters of water a day. And I'm like, so that's too much. We're not doing that. No progress. And then you get to like have a rest day or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I need something to help me get back into, because I haven't been writing. I hadn't been writing at all. The most I wrote was like a couple hundred words in like 4 months. And I was getting really frustrated, and I was like, I'm going to get back into it. So instead of the 10 minutes of reading, which I'm going to do anyway, I'm trying to do 10 minutes of writing.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to get it back into my routine, get it back into my day so that I have it set up. Like I do this and this and this and this, and then the writing happens. And then, so because that was the thing, I was having a really hard time figuring out when I was going to do it. And so we're going to do this. We're doing the 75 stuff together. And yeah, so far it's been really good. It
started on Monday.
We started on Monday. We're tracking it on our calendar. But yeah, it's just trying to get back into the routine I had before the summer that I really, really liked and was really productive for me. And it worked for me, especially how my day is structured. Yeah, so it's helping. It's really helping. So that's helping my mental health too. And yeah, I liked that it wasn't like, here's how you eat and this is what you exercise. It's like, do whatever you want. Just do it every day.
Yeah.
Which is the whole point of habit stacking and creating. And the way my brain is wired, I need it to, it's not enough to just think about doing it. It has to become part of a ritual of my day.
Right.
In order for it to stick and for order for me to want to do it and feel motivated to do it. So this is me trying to do that. And it's working so far. So knock on wood. So that's what I've been doing.
Good deal.
Thank
you. Since we are running a little on the late side, I'm going to run through this. So the last one is on to me, and that is what I've been thinking about. And it all ties together. So this last weekend, I was at Giganticon. It was a convention here in Killeen. Advertising seemed to be okay, but it was all right. And Saturday afternoon, and then it just started getting pretty dead late Saturday afternoon. And then Sunday was pretty dead as well. And just talked to some of the vendors. I talked to some of the people in the food trucks and stuff, but just talking to everyone. The only thing I'm thinking about right now is inflation, because I'm spending technically over $400 a week now on groceries. Just groceries. And it's not like I'm eating steak. I mean, but by the time we, and it fluctuates because, some weeks, you'll need like, oh, we ran out of the dog food, or, oh, well, we need laundry detergent, or, whatever it is. And so, there's fluctuations in there. But like one night a week, we pretty much have to eat out. It's after Nicholas's football games. He only has 2 more on the schedule. So we can go back to, eating in-house on those nights. But yeah, it's just, everything is so freaking expensive, and no one had any, like I said, and I'm talking to other people, and they're the exact same way. And that's why we think it didn't do so well this last weekend, was because, discretionary funds are the first thing that go. And, going to, a geek convention is a discretionary fund for most people.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the cosplayers I hang out with, we like to get together just because this is how we do hang out and check in on each other, whatever. But yeah, it's just no one has any money. Like, I think we raised $16 in donations. Like, it was, very little that we made, but I mean, just no one has any freaking money right now. And like I said, it's between groceries and everything else, like, as is, it's like, I've come to a stopping point on my shop, because I don't have any money to work on it. So, and I've had some other things that have come up. I did notice there is no insulation above my shop, so I'm going to need to get some insulation blown in there, because it's still keeping it about 10 degrees cooler than the garage, so it's still workable in there. But I know having the big garage door is not helping either. But yeah, I have a feeling I'm losing most of the cool through the attic. So that's something I'll end up having to look at. But yeah, just like everyone else, like, this election cannot come quick enough, because I'm hoping one way or the other, as long as it's decided, people will be like, okay, we at least know what the next 4 years are going to be like. Now we can start doing some stuff, because a lot of people, we have another possible, they've basically kicked another government shutdown to just pass the election. So, we can't make any major decisions. We're just going to keep kicking it down the road.
Yep.
So, and everyone's, I live in a town that is still primarily military. It's definitely not as much as it used to be, because, I mean, it's still, the big base is there, but there are fewer people in the base, and they are not shipping people in and out as much as they used to. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough right now. So,
Yep.
Ray, what have you been thinking about?
So I've been thinking about amusement parks, obviously, because we've got a trip coming up in January to celebrate our 20th anniversary. So in February, but anyway. And then the other thing, again, I'm going to keep this quick because I know we were going long. So Nathan Lane was on Seth Meyers' podcast or show last night, I think it was. And he said he's working on a new show, and the way it was pitched to him really intrigued me. He said it was pitched to him as if it was Golden Girls for the gays. And I'm like, you know what? I would watch that.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
So it's him, his mother moves in with him, and then there's a couple of friends that I guess have to move in as well at some point. So like, it's not the Golden Girls, but it's, that kind of
the kind of dynamic.
I was like, okay, I would probably watch this show. So
did he say who else was cast? Because that could be a big thing.
More at this point, but I will look that up, and we'll go.
Which, by the way, he was fantastic in Only Murders.
Yeah. Okay. I've only watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, so I'm of the first season. So I'm like just at the beginning of it. But yeah, he's good in it. He's good in
well, he's good in everything that he does. Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
But
yes. So Will and Grace creators Max Muchnick and David Cohen are officially back in the sitcom. It's Hulu has ordered a series called Mid-Century Modern, and it has Nathan Lane, Matt Bomer they're executive producers as well. So I'm not sure.
No, but it's their picture. Let me just see who it is, because then I'll be it.
Sorry.
Oh, wouldn't you know it? I don't know their names. Never mind.
Because he did mention who the mother was being played.
Yeah. And I know her face. I just don't know her name.
So,
Anyway, that sounds cool. I'll watch stuff with Matt Bomer in it.
here we go. Nathan Lane, Matt Bomer, Linda Levin. Sorry, it's really fuzzy because it's bad. And Nathan Lee Graham.
Yeah.
Those sound familiar, but I can't place them. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, okay, I'm gonna have to tell Christy about this. This sounds like it's right up her alley.
Yeah.
So, Kris, what have you been thinking about?
It goes along with the doing, I guess, just like thinking about how to, you kind of get stuck in a little bit of a rut. How do I get out of it? What can I do for myself? Yeah. And just thinking about ways to help encourage myself instead of doing what I would normally do a few years ago, which is just beat myself up, which never works, but you keep doing it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just really trying to go with what works for me, not with what I hope would work for me, right? Like, how do I actually do this? Not how I hope or I think I'm supposed to do it. So yeah, just thinking about ways to help achieve the goals that I want to achieve in a way that I actually can do it the way I am as a person and the way I do things. So yeah.
That's a great way to look at
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't go into it because, like I said, it's already kind of late. Anyway, Cy, what have you been thinking about?
I mean, what have I not been thinking about? Why does the sun come up? Or the stars put pinholes in the curtain of night? Who knows? I don't know. Like, I don't know. What have I been thinking about? Working on new projects, trying to keep my brain functional and active, and spending as much time as I can with my cats, because I don't know. I mean, they're not old, but they're not going to be around forever, and I'm just trying to enjoy the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm collecting movies and DVDs, and my buddy from Pittsburgh is sending me a bunch of VHS tapes and a boombox that he bought me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I just got the new version of my cousin's product that he invented called Mixtape.
Oh yeah.
I just got it yesterday and it's really fun. I can't wait to get this boombox so I can use it in there, but I loaded this thing up with a bunch of music and everything. It's pretty cool. So I don't know, dude. I'm just thinking about trying to enjoy life, be here in the moment. This is, I'm getting close to 50, dude. We both are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, Ray. Like, how old are you, Ray?
42.
Okay, you got a little bit longer to go, but not much longer to go. But yeah, we're getting up there, man. Like, we got to enjoy this time. This is our time to really enjoy. Because what did Jack Nicholson say? What if this is as good as it gets?
Mm.
Ever since I saw that movie, that's stuck in my head, and I was like, oh, okay. Always try to appreciate where you're at, because you may not get where you're going.
Yep. Right.
So anyway, yeah, I guess that's what's on my mind. Just trying to do as much as I can that I enjoy and keep myself motivated and optimistic and busy. So
good deal. Well, sounds like you're doing a good job with it with all the reading and stuff. So
thank you.
Well, that is our show for the month, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please give us a 5-star rating on wherever it is you listen or watch the show. You can find us on pretty much all the different podcast players, and then you can also listen to us as a podcast or watch the show on YouTube. You can find all the shows that we do at epicallygeeky.com, where you can find the Marginally Geeky Show, Epically Geeky Show, and Sustainably Geeky Show. And then you can find us on social media at Epically Geeky. Where can we find you online, Ray?
The Reluctant Yeti on Instagram, and then also fixing everything on Wikipedia that Sean puts on there.
Kris?
Instagram at Moody Midlife.
Cyrus.
Super Mega Graphic 64. I have a theme song now on my thing.
Oh, do you? I hadn't listened to it.
Yeah, it's AI, but I did write all the lyrics. But the
Oh,
music-
nice.
Yeah, but the music is AI.
Because I do you play it before every episode? Because I've kind of skipped ahead to see like what you were doing. So if that's the case, I'll have to go back and re-listen to the beginning of the.
Yeah,
stream.
it plays at the beginning and the end of.
Okay, then I will have to go back and rewatch the beginning because I was kind of skipping ahead to being like, what game is he playing now? What game is he playing now? So
It's kind of cheesy, but I wanted it to be cheesy.
Why not? Like that's awesome. We live in an age where you can have any theme song you want. Like do what you want to do, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome. So, and as always, you can find my individual wacky adventure online at Optimachine on Facebook, Instagram, and no, that's it. Just those two. For everyone on the site, have a good night.